mischief-making of Alaska Department of Fish and Game continued on in the summer of 2024 despite the USDA inspector's absence, despite the fact that Dr. Ann Goplin, the USDA inspector, failed to show up in that summer of 2024. The Fish and Game people had some other tricks up their sleeve having to do with a moose calf, an orphan moose calf that I had. There was Duck Moses and Jerry the Moose. These are two orphan moose calves that I received.
Oh my God, it's a moose.
Duck Hess.
Duck, thank you so much for bringing him over here.
And retired police officer Jerry Ernie.
You're totally welcome.
I tell you, they don't make them like you and Jerry and Mrs. Ernie anymore.
One's quite a bit bigger than the other, isn't it? One's quite a bit bigger than the other. Like
What was that? Let's play that again.
Duck Hess. Duck.
one's quite a bit bigger than the other.
One's quite a bit bigger than the other. One of them, Jerry the Moose, was weak and smaller than the other one from the get-go. Jerry eventually died. Now, that particular moose had a necropsy. It was the same, was fed the same as Duck Moses. All of it was the same. Of course, I loved those moose more than anything. But it died suddenly. Didn't indicate anything. It died suddenly. But this moose was given the best of care. Sadly, though, the necropsy was done by Dr. Kimberly Beckman, the veterinarian, the minion, the mouthpiece of the Alaska Department of Fish and Game. She is one of my greatest enemies, and she tried to find some way that death of that moose calf had to be my fault, and that is one of the felonies where they want to put me in prison for 5 years because I starved this moose and caused its death. They discovered that the moose had died of cryptosporidium. It has come to our attention recently that the samples from the necropsy of Jerry the Moose tested positive for cryptosporidium. We are not sure what strain yet, but hopefully we will find out soon. Because of this, we are planning on doing some water sampling at your site while in Haines on May 8th. This water sampling is to rule out that the cryptosporidium may have originated from contaminated water sources. Do you see how this works now? Instead of Dr. Ann Goplin coming that summer, it was Fish and Game trying to accuse me of giving the moose contaminated water. They took water samples from the swamp. They took water samples from a pool of water along the road by my sons. They took water samples from my bathtub. While it is possible that the moose contracted the disease before arriving at your facility, we want to rule out any possible water contamination for the health of the animals in your care. Thanks. This biologist, Stephanie Bogle, she is really a piece of work. And a lot of the condemnations in the charging document come from her opinions, her speculative views. He must have starved the porcupine. He must have caused this to happen. He must have caused that to happen. This woman is the biologist from hell. So did they find cryptosporidium in my water? No. They took those water samples on May 8th. But that wasn't enough. They had to come back again. They said that they only want to take water samples one more time just to make sure. This was June 19th, I believe it was, June 19th, 2024. When they got to my place, they didn't want to take water samples of my moose only. They wanted to take water samples of places such as the wolf complex where I had Maluna. Maluna tried to bite that woman, Stephanie Bogle. She wouldn't listen to me, and I had to speak in a tone like this. You have to get away from there. She's going to bite you. That's all I did, was talk like that. And I was quite upset with them because if she had gotten hurt, I would be in trouble. And I mentioned that, and then they, and I thought, okay. So I found out in the discovery the troopers' reason for being there for these inspections with the USDA. I found out why that was. Their ADF&G requested an escort from the Alaska Wildlife Troopers due to Steve Kroschel's increase verbal hostility toward ADF&G staff.
Colin Nemec, you lying shyster. Colin Nemec, the last tool in the toolbox, as he says.
I allege that the only reason why Stephanie Bogle and Roy Churchville from the state of Alaska came with that trooper in the fall of 2024 with Goplin and her entourage, the only reason they came was to make sure they knew where all the animals were. During those September inspections, I was trying to be polite and not film and not record these people. But look at them all. Here's that trooper again, Colin Nemec.
Doing the inspection here. Just filming feet, that's all. We're wrapping up the inspection, the third inspection, September 26th, 2024.
The whole thing was a lie. Even after I got my USD license back in January, it didn't matter. As you can see, they knew where the animals were, and in June of 2025, they came and raided the park because they knew where all the animals were, because they were there for the inspections in the fall of 2024.